Hi guys, hope you had a nice long weekend. As always, we're going to start class today with 10 minutes of silent reading. This will come into play later on in today's lesson, so if you aren't doing your silent reading, you need to definitely be doing that today because you're going to need to have your book ready to answer some questions at the end of the lesson today. After silent reading, you can set a timer and work on your vocab presentation. If you finish that, please feel free to submit it on Classroom. Tomorrow's our first day of presentations. We have Adjacent presenting and then Alight. So make sure that you are ready to go. Okay, before moving on to today's new concept here, which kind of builds on last week, I was grading everybody's inferences about this cartoon here that we were practicing making inferences on last week. And I was kind of surprised about the inferences that I was getting. So I wanted to go over the answer as to really what the inference was I was looking for in this cartoon. Now, remember that an inference is an educated guess of some kind, you guys. Most of you were stating facts about this, not making guesses about what happened to the cat, okay? So in order to make an inference about what happened to the cat, we have to look at the clues in the picture. We have to combine it with prior knowledge, and then we have to guess about what happened to the cat. I can tell some of us weren't even listening to the instructional video last week that I gave because the inference, I told you to make an inference about what happened to the cat, and lots of us were making inferences about just this picture in general, like there's a fish. Okay, yeah, there is a fish, but that's not really an inference. That's just a fact. Or it's a pet shop. Yep, we already know that because it's in the window. An inference is going above and beyond. You're reading between the lines in some way here, okay? So here was the answer I was looking for. My inference about what happened to this sad cat here is that the cat tried to fish the piranha out of the bowl, and then the piranha chewed the fur off of the cat's legs, which is what we see right here in the picture. Why am I making this inference? This is me backing up my claim with evidence of some kind. I'm using the clues in the picture to back this up. Well, I know that cats will typically want to eat fish, at least they do in cartoons. And I also know that piranhas are known to have sharp teeth and they'll bite. So combining my prior knowledge with what I see in the picture, I can then make the inference that the cat tried to get the piranha out of the bowl and the piranha ate it, or ate the fur off the legs, okay? So that was the answer I was looking for. So today we're going to be talking about a concept that we're going to be dealing with all year. And you kind of heard me talk about it a little bit last week. It's called inner voice. So using your inner voice while reading. I like this picture because it kind of shows that like when we're reading, we have this, maybe this little person inside of our head that's always telling us, or we're always thinking about something or making connections while reading. So first I want you to start with, what do you think I mean when I say inner voice? Just take a guess as to what you think I mean by it, okay? You can write your answer here in the box. So take a minute and go ahead and do that. Then, inner voice, here's two types of inner voice. Inner voice doesn't always have to be like, we're always thinking about the characters and the theme and symbolism and everything else. We have kind of two types of inner voice, and everyone uses these two types when they read. The first is called a useful voice, or sometimes I call it conversation voice. The other is called waste of time voice, and it's okay that us as readers go back and forth between these two types of inner voices. I know that I do as a reader all the time, but what makes a good reader into a better reader is that we recognize when we're in this waste of time voice, and then we can go back and switch to our useful conversation voice. So our useful conversation voice means that we are relating to the text, we're making connections, we're asking questions about what's happening in the story, we're giving opinions, we're talking back to the text. I like to be sassy when I read, like, wow, that was really stupid. Why would the character go and do something like that? Or, oh man, what's going to happen now? Or like, I'm very sassy and sarcastic with my inner voice when I'm reading. It also means a useful voice is that we can remember what we actually read, okay? Versus a waste of time voice means we lose track of what's being read. We're straying from the text, we're forgetting, and we're not caring, okay? So how can we go about being better inner voice readers? You, as you continue to practice this concept of inner voice in reading, you can turn off your wandering voice by selectively rereading for a specific purpose, okay? So you've probably been familiar of seeing these reading strategies before, but these are really helpful in how to achieve a useful conversation voice while we're reading with that inner voice. Good readers will ask questions about the text. They are always wondering what is going on. They then will look for an answer to that question. They're constantly making connections in the text. They're looking for clues to help draw an inference, hence why we were talking about that cat in the cartoon. We're retelling what's been read. That goes along with the idea of we understand what's read and we remember what's being read, and we're always visualizing a picture in our mind or playing back that scene in like a movie in our mind. So now we're actually going to practice our inner voice. Okay, I'm going to do a sample with you guys here. This is the text that you read on Friday about the twin brothers, Jack and Willie, who had more differences than commonalities. Willie was tall, Jack was short, etc. We learn that Jack is basically even though he was like kind of a quote average student, he had to work harder at everything. The hard work paid off in the end, whereas Willie struggled because things had come easy to him and he didn't have a good work ethic, okay? So I'm going to pretend like I'm reading this for the first time, and I am now going to pause here and I'm going to go, gosh, that first sentence of this story right here, twin brothers Jack and Willie had more differences than commonalities. I already am making a connection. My inner voice is already having a connection to this part of the story here. So I'm going to talk about what my inner voice is telling me. So my inner voice is, well, it's from page or slide 11. If you're doing this out of a book, you would actually have a page number, right? So then I'm actually going to go ahead and write 4 sentences about what my inner voice is. I'm going to explain literally what I was thinking as I read this first sentence in the story. So here's my inner voice. Well, already on the first line of the story, talking about how the twins have more differences than commonalities, I was thinking kind of like, duh. See, there's my sassy voice coming out. I know lots of twins and they're always their own person. My inner voice was then allowing me to make a personal connection with the story right at the start. One of my best friends is a twin and she always gets annoyed that people assume her and her sister are the same or identical in every way. So it's as simple as that, you guys. You're just telling me what were you thinking about as you read a particular part of your story. So now you're going to try. Go back and skim what you read during independent reading at the start of class. You're going to find 2 different instances when you had inner voice. It could be useful voice or waste of time voice. And tell me what your inner voice was telling you while you read. Okay? So you're going to tell me your inner voice page where you had the inner voice. You're going to give me at least 4 sentences here, and then you're just going to do it a second time. So you're practicing that inner voice twice today. Submit this when you're done, and I'll see you guys on Zoom tomorrow. Thanks. Let me know if you have any questions.